What's up guys, Peaker again. I'm back with another Cypher video, and today we have the best cameras, the absolute best cameras after the chamber patch. I've included most of the ones I use and some that I haven't used that much but that I still think are very good. There's lots of cameras, and don't worry, like I know pretty much all of the cameras. However, if you want to suggest cameras, you're more than welcome to. My DMs are open and we have a channel in Discord where you can send them in. And yeah, if you want more of this, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and also leave a comment because it really helps with the algorithm. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting with Ascent A site, normal cameras coming in here. And these cameras are all very good for one-ways, for holding the choke points, and they're centered around anchoring on site. So you see there's difficult cameras where you jump on the generator, but there's also a version that has a bit less viewing but is easier, where you just stand on heaven and you place it like that. And I'm gonna go very fast with the cameras because there's a lot of cameras. However, don't be afraid of pausing and just selecting a camera you want to learn. This one here from Garden, it's very nice, it's very hidden. So if you have a specific setup around the A main, well, it's pretty good to use there. This one for Garden, sees enemies walking in, pretty nice. Then one for short when you want to take over mid a bit more from the defense side. And yeah, pretty standard to me. It will get shot out if there's enemies. However, information is key. You trade information for the depth of your camera, so it's not too bad. Another one here, top mid, standard. Use this one a lot as well, and you see pretty much everywhere. Then for B, we have this one right above. You see pretty much everyone walking in. Enemies can shoot it out, and when they do, I go for an alternative, which is this one. You place it up here. It's a bit more difficult to see it for the enemies. They have to walk out, and still allows you to see enemies as they walk in. Then if you want to do wall bangs or just scout enemies very early, you can go for this one. And you see enemies in B main. For the retake cameras, I like to do this one. Specifically this one because you see pretty much all of B site. For attackers cameras, I like to use this one if I'm going to use the camera to idle, if I want to see enemies coming through our backs to A site, or if enemies are coming from A to mid. If I want to scout early, I go for that one. If I want to scout on site, I have two cameras. I go for this one, very far down but sees a lot on site, and basically see up the enemies' noses. However, if you don't want to do that, you want a bit more safety for the camera, go for this one. However, it has reduced vision because it can see the right side, so you have to face check that. For mid, I always go for this one. You can get that quick view of the enemies even if they're ready to shoot out. And if you want to go for the other side of mid, well, I'm gonna shoot that soon. But first this one, where you scout Garden real quick, basic camera. Here's the one I wanted to show from mid. You can see into short as well, pretty nice. For attacking B, I like to do this one in the window. You can scout enemies rushing in, anyone preparing a shock bolt or a nade or something. If you want to see enemies in market, I highly suggest this one. And yeah, if you want to see enemies right on site, get up on the box and send it through window. And now you can see enemies all the way to backside even. So any killjoy setting up won't be a problem. Now for bind, we're starting with defense here. This one is from A tower. You place it up here. I've shown this one before in the previous camera videos. You see both bath and A short. Very good for defense. You can open teleports. Now a new one, you put it on wires. You stand on the edge here, jump, place it, and now you see bath and short. It's a bit more tricky to see it because it's out in there. For bath, I like to do this one. It allows you to see enemies' legs before they walk in. You can go for a quick peek, get a headshot. For lamps, you can go for this one. Works well with a one-way in lamps, or if you have a setup for and just punishing enemies coming in from bath. Then one for short, I typically use this one. Sees a lot of A site. Shoot through TP, you can open the doors. If enemies shoot that out or you don't need it, well, this one is a bit more hidden. For hookah, whenever I want information in here, I place it up in the roof there. Very difficult to see it, and enemies have to look up straight up in order to shoot it. If I want to play for a hookah as they enter in, this one is pretty nice. Very hidden. You can also place it on the box there. Pretty much the same thing. Then for B site, go up on the box, look up here, and place it as far up as you can. Usually you can place it by the shadow there. It doesn't see the left side of hookah, but it's totally fine. Then for another one here, place it here. Pretty standard camera as well. I've used this one before, showed it before as well. And it works well when you're playing right on sight. Then you can place one to the left of the window. A bit more defensive, you see enemies as they jump out of hookah. And a bit more delayed when they walk out from long. Then the one above long, very good for when you're playing in elbow, as well as when you're playing in tube. If you want to scout for long, if you want to do a quick peek or just want information, you can go for this one. You see enemies walking out from hook as well. When I attack, I go for this one on short. You see lamps, heaven, sight, truck, everything. You can also go for this one here. You jump, place it there, and now you see heaven a tiny bit, sight, and a bit of the cubby there. If you want a one-way camera for BAF, I love to use this one. I see enemies walking past to the right. They don't see the camera. Then I peek around, shoot them in the head, bam. When you push through BAF, I typically just go for a basic camera like that. Scout very quickly. All you need is just quick information. Doesn't matter if they shoot the camera. And then you work with what you have. Let's say that you have secured A. You want to hold for choke points. This perfect camera helps you really, really easily. And that's it for A site. Now for B, you place the camera on the TP. You can send enemies rushing in. If you've taken control here, you can also place it on the wall. Pretty much every Cypher knows how to use this. If you place it on the back there, now you can see all of the backside and enemies from CT as well. If you want to deny orbs on B, you can go for this one. And yeah, you can also punish any oppers. Once you push up long, you go for this camera, and now you can scout all of sight as well as elbow. On to breeze, a new camera. You line up like this. It's a bit tricky. You have to jump and place it on the pipe, and you can see very far in, really far in. And it's very nice when you have enemies idling around A main. This one is a bit similar to Ascent on A site, where enemies run in, then you punish them. If you want to keep control of the hallway, well, place it on the window there, or the hole. Now you can see enemies as they walk in, and it's basically a one-way camera. Very nice. You can also do this one here, where enemies will see the camera right as they are in range for your wallbangs, and you can kill them easily. You can do a sneaky camera to mid through the door here without showing yourself at all. And that way you can scout early if enemies are pushing in, if they're rotating, and yeah, you can be pretty safe. Then one more for nest. Right when the run starts, bam, you have the information. Are they running up mid? Are they not? Well, now we know. This one from B side, you can go for pretty much the same information, a bit more restricted. Then for B side itself, you can place a camera on the leaves here, and this is on high graphic settings. You see enemies as they walk in. This is on low graphic settings, and that's why it looks like a floating camera sometimes when I play. Another one I use is this one on the corner. Pretty standard. And then if you want to go for an aggressive camera, you can go for this one and tag enemies as they walk in and then confuse them. For attack side, I like to do this one in cave, just scout early so I don't have to sacrifice myself. And if I don't use that one, I go for this one in the corner so I can scout A side and tag enemies, decide where I want to cage, and then push in. When I want to scout for hallway, I go for this one, and I see all the way over there, prepare myself to duel, and that's it. Then this one in mid, pretty decent. You can see enemies as they walk out nest, as well as the cannon camera that does the same thing, but sees a bit more towards the open green field in the upper part of mid. Then for mid itself, through doors, you just go for this camera, easy scout. For B side, go for camera here, or you can place it pretty much anywhere, as long as you can see enemies in sight. For fracture, I've made a video before with all the cameras that I used, and this is old footage, and it's nothing really changed. The only thing that changed is how you see the barriers and stuff, but all in all, it's pretty much the exact same cameras as my fracture video. There's a card up here if you want to check it out. But yeah, pretty simple cameras. You go for cameras that gain a lot of vision, and they might be easy to destroy for enemies that play slow or they know the spots and play slow, but you as Cypher, you can still dominate with them. So these cameras here that see into A main, for example, they're very well hidden and works when you're playing for spawn and you have a teammate holding for drop. Then this one on the disc itself can be very, very good early on because you see both sides, and if enemies don't catch that camera, there's nothing they can do when you go for wallbangs. Another one that reminds me of the camera on Ascent B side specifically, this one. Enemies will see it when they come through drop, but not when they come through A side. And you can be above, you can be somewhere, and you just delete them. Then a typical one I use, this one here. One-way camera pretty much as they walk through A main. You see their legs, and they can't do anything about it. Then this one that goes through the glass. You can open the doors to the teleporter. It's not too difficult to get up to that corner, place it. Very safe as well, so you don't show yourself to the enemies as they walk into A main. Then open the doors from the other side, kill them. One more on B side here. Arcade, you hide the camera with the foliage. This is on low settings, so nothing is really shown by the camera. Well, everything is pretty hidden thanks to the foliage. And you can easily tag enemies, you can see them, you can peek around the corner, you can get up here in tower. And then another one you can do from tower, place it right here, and you can deny enemies as they're walking in from main in order to plant on site. And let's say that you have a tripwire behind you in tower. Another one you can do here for B site, it's this one where you see both B main as well as arcade. Super easy, all at once, as well as site where people normally plant. You can go for punishes if you're playing in spawn or if you're playing in tower. This one above B main, very good if you want to go for wall bangs or if you want to go for perhaps a peek from a site. And enemies have to take this awkward angle where they need to stare right up in order to shoot it. Another one you can do is this one, and it's all just to add variety and make it more difficult for enemies to find the camera. So all in all, it's pretty much the same angles, just a difficulty of seeing them. If you want to scout for enemies rotating through the ropes, you can use this one. If you expect them to rotate through spawn, but you're not sure, you can do this on attack, you can do this on defense, both work, but I like to do this on attack if I do them. Otherwise, I keep the cameras for sight if I'm holding on defense. This one is for arcade, attack side. Place it on the pipe. And you need to be on the box for this one as well. You can see into A main, well B main if they want to push in, as well as tower. It's a bit more sneaky this one. It doesn't show all the good info for arcade, but yes, it's good for peeking. And I think you have to adapt your cameras as you play in Fracture, because some of these spots are restricted because of the angles enemies might take and easily shoot them out. But as long as you can act on the cameras that you have, fine. This camera scouts all the way into tower, and that's it. For Haven, A long, typical camera here. We go out the window, place it above window like that, and you see enemies walking in on site. I like this one when I'm holding in window, because then I can just pop out and shoot them. Another one when you hold in window is this one. You get up on the truck, place it there. Well, boxes, it's called truck though, because it looks like a truck. And you just shoot and miss as they come through short. This one is a good retake camera. You place it there and then leave it. This is good for eco pushes. For example, if you go mid, enemies go A, bam, you see enemies as you retake, and that's it. If you want to go for a full-on retake camera, that's amazing. This one is the best for A site. Aim on the white part, and as long as you can see the sand or graffiti, you're perfect. That's perfect position. For B site, I typically go for this one and I play defensive. And if I want to be more aggressive with my camera because of my traps or cages, I go for this one on the side so I can see enemies as they peek in. And this one is typically the best. If you want to tag enemies that are pushing in very fast to B site, you can go for this one, activate the cage and shoot them in the back. And another one, when enemies are leaving mid and allowing you to take the space here, going for this camera allows you to see enemies going garage or B, and nobody really notices that one. Another one from garage is this one. This one is a bit more noticeable though. For garage, I like to place it here on the left side, but you can also place it on the right side. And the main thing is that you see enemies as they walk in so that you can shoot them, or that you can activate your cages and just do some play. At least you can do some play. For C site, I go up on the box, place it really far up so that I can scout deep into long. And as long as I know that there's someone deep into long, I listen for footsteps, and then accordingly to there's footsteps or however many there are, activate my cages early, late, depending on the situation. Another variation you can do here, all these ones are viable, they are all playing for the choke points, but my favorite one is the one really far up, or this one, because I get a lot of info from long, especially with the sound effects, and yeah, shooting it into garage there helps. For attack side, I go for this one. I see into A short as well as long. When I don't push, I go for that one. If I push short, I scout with this one. That way, we don't get deleted by a Reno or Razor or Jet lurking. And for A long, I use this one, scout for the spot there. Window, main, everything, you know. For mid, this one is perfect. You can see enemies rushing out garage or rushing out B. And you're totally safe. If I want to push mid, but I'm afraid of getting peeked or not really peeked, but held by an operator or someone, I go for this one on B and I tag and miss. For garage, place it through the gap there, and now you can see into garage. And then for C long, last but not least, here we go. Sim. You can do many variations. On to Icebox. We have nice standard cameras for Icebox as well, and nothing really big changed, but there are some minor changes for, I guess, how I add variations to my A-side cameras, and this one is the one I add as a variation. If I don't want to go for those two, I tend to go for this one up here, and it's a very passive camera, sees enemies as they are about to walk into A-side, and then you can do this one as well, pretty much the same thing. It's a good backup camera if you have nothing else to do, and it will get shot out, but you will get a lot of info. Then for spawn, I go for this one. I can see into mid, and that's pretty much all the goal, just see into mid. If I want to see deep into mid, I want to see spawn or here, or maybe check if they're rushing A or rushing mid, I go for this one. Then if I'm kitchen, I go for this one here on the blue thingy. Perfect for scouting enemies going A, or hearing if they're going in B, or seeing if they're going right underneath tube. If I play B side, I tend to go for this one. Always my favorite camera for B side, because enemies have to walk in order to see it. And I make sure that I enter the camera before the round starts, because then they don't know if I'm in the camera. When I'm attack side, I love going for this camera because it covers all of spawn. You can see all choke points, all entries, all flanks they can go for, and you're totally safe regardless of which site you go for. For A side, when I push up, I go for this one, scout very early on, and then might get shot out. Who knows? Whatever I get, whatever info I get, I use that. For mid, I use this one. I check B and mid at the same time. Kitchen as well. Now for split, my favorite camera, up here in tower. Well, one of my favorites. This one works well with a one-way on ramp, and you can see enemies walking in through a main as well. Then for ramp itself, you place the camera really far up by standing on the box, and now enemies are gonna be having to stretch their neck or have some godlike awareness in order to notice it. If you're in tower and you want to have a sneaky camera, you can go for this one. It has a limited vision, but if you're focusing around the choke points or heaven, especially when you're planting, post plant, it's perfect. Then for defense on the tower, this one is very nice. You can see before the run starts if enemies are on box, and it should be patched, but it hasn't. If you don't want to do that one, this one is the equivalent. You can see enemies rushing in early, pretty good. And if you want to retake A, I love doing this. You see elbow, you can see tiny bit on sight. Enemies have to stretch their neck in order to see it, and it's very uncommon to use it. So you will get away with it a lot of times. For mid, this one is nice, very hidden. You can also use this one if you want to be aggressive into email. Let's say that you have someone holding with you, raise or whatever. If you're holding alone, I like to go for a bit more defensive setup and use this camera, because then you have the cover from the box and a bit more room to play with. For B side, this camera here, perfect. Probably the best camera for B side because of how you can use your one-ways and how it's a camera that enemies need to commit into the choke point to shoot it out. An alternative is this one and this one as well. This last one is a bit more difficult to use in order to fight with one-ways though, but has all the info and it's very nice when you're playing defense without one-ways. For attack side, this one scouts very deep into A. You can see enemies pushing up early, or you can hear enemies on ramp as well. Then we have another one. If you want to scout ramps or want to scout heaven, especially if there's operators or some weird place by a raise, that's perfect. For mid, I like to do this one, especially if there's a sage wall, because you can see past that box and see if anyone is hiding behind it. And from the other side, you can do it there. Perfect. Then for B main, you can place the camera on that small core. I don't know what it's called, but you place it there and you see past the pillar. If you want to go even deeper and see into spawn, go just a tiny bit deeper, but make sure that you don't show yourself too much because your shoulder will show and you will get shot, but it should be fine. And before we wrap up this video, I want to give a special shout out to all the new members. Thank you so much for joining. It means a lot to me, and thanks so much for the support. Thanks so much for watching the video. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button and also the notification bell. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.